Alright, welcome to the Nexus Gaming series here. Division A action. This really is the cream of the crop. Macroroni and Cheese versus Reborne. Arguably the top two teams in the Nexus Gaming series. These two teams both undefeated heading into this series. A lot on the line. Both were really excited, looking forward to this. I'm joined by Zaleb. Zaleb, as represented by the happy face there. He sent me, it was like a smiling pancake, but I had to crop it. How you doing tonight?
Yes, good. It's Yes Man from Fallout New Vegas for the people that have played that.
It's on my to-do list. As are many games. For whatever reason, I decided I'm going to clear Watch Dogs. I spent a lot of this weekend playing that frustrating experience. But, with that, shock of all shocks, Hanzo ban. Not too surprised to see that out of the gate. And it looks like it's going to be just straight Shimada Brothers ban.
Yeah, they're both really strong heroes. They both do a lot of that range poke, and Genji has a little bit more of the kill secure, but Hanzo's certainly no slouch in doing damage and just making it so that his team can go in.
Yeah.
Also both really strong at the denial, because you can just shoot a scatter arrow or jump in and throw a couple shurikens and then get out, because
Right.
when you think this game, you think, hey, let's just have unparalleled amounts of mobility.
Right. We are first on Towers of Doom. Map 2 going to be on the Battlefield of Eternity. So a couple more unique maps. Towers of Doom, obviously, with the always unique objective. Battlefield of Eternity can be a snowbally map. I've seen it quite a bit lately. It seems to be a very popular pick, both in Nexus Gaming Series and in Heroes Hype.
Yeah, BOE is one of the better maps because it's got a really strong objective, but it's also pretty heavy on team fighting. You have to be fighting to get the Immortal for the most part. You're not just going to be able to just race against the opposing team. They're going to contest and you're going to have to fight. So I think a lot of teams like it because you can have that macro, but you also have the team fighting almost forced upon you, especially in all the little choke points and areas.
Yeah, Greymane gonna be the first pick. Pretty all-around strong DPS. If he hasn't had a 100% participation rate in HGC so far, it's damn near close. Gonna turn around with the Li Ming Lucio. Li Ming has been certainly the most popular mage in HGC this weekend. Reset potential, the poke potential is great. And she can actually, with the Calamity build, kind of trade into Greymane a little bit. And then a Lucio, definitely been the top support we've seen in HGC, in Open Division, or I'm sorry, not in Open, in HGC and in Nexus Gaming Series. Just an all-around extraordinarily powerful hero at the moment.
Yeah, he also brings in the move speed. If you take Boombox, he essentially just gives you a ward that you can drop in a bush, and for 20 seconds you have vision there if they don't clean it. And if they do clean it, well, you know where they're coming from, so...
And there's Murd and ETC. Now, part of me is somewhat surprised to see Murden picked up before ETC. Sorry, Murd and Sonya. But on the other hand, Murden can proc off. You know, a Stormbolt can lead to an Ancient Spear Greymane dive, absolutely blow up either Li Ming or Lucio. And, you know, diving onto Lucio can be strong, Sonya's strong, it's a solo lane. I think it's two good picks. What are your thoughts?
Well, like you said, it's surprising to see it before the ETC, but we might see the ETC ban instead of being chosen, because maybe they just feel a little bit more comfortable on that Murden, having a little bit more of ranged engage versus ETC having to put himself into, a bad situation potentially. Murden can throw the Stormbolt, and then if it's a fight they want to take, they can go in.
Right.
If not, they can just be like, well, I still get a stack. You're temporarily, bothered.
Right. But seeing the Stukov ban there, that could interrupt Sonya's Whirlwind. Or, sorry, not Sonya's Whirlwind. The Stukov can deal with Li Ming poke very well, so I think it's a good ban. as far as supports, probably going to lead, on the right side of the screen, we have Reborne, probably leading them towards maybe an Alex Strasza. Mathael, turnaround ban, not surprising. Murid and Sonya have big health pools to start a game. Greymane has a very big health pool at the end of the game because he grows at a higher rate than every other hero.
Yeah, it's also a smart ban because they have the Lucio, who is a really strong just counter to Malthael, and if they take him, then it's gonna be really, really difficult to burst down the Malthael because you'll have the sound barrier and the armor from Tormented Souls.
Yeah, overall, ooh, I really like these two picks. ETC Lucio just gives you such good engagement. That speed boost lets ETC get in for a good power slide, especially out of a bush, of which there are plenty on this map. You turn around with the Leoric. Leoric gonna be able to get a lot of value on this map. You know, you can stall an objective, and even if you die in the early objectives, you can get back quickly. But also into effectively three melee. Greymane will mostly play range, but will dive in for the kill shot. March of the Black King is just going to wreck face. And then, you know, Leoric's pretty good anti-warrior. So I'm loving the two drafts from this team. This is like, both these teams are very good at drafting, and we're seeing that here. Yeah,
another thing that we might be potentially seeing, depending on these next two picks, is that you have, you know, Greymane, who can jump out if he jumps onto someone. I believe he can go over terrain with his Q. I was going to say we might be seeing an Entomb, but with the Junkrat there, you have 3 people, potentially 4, who can get out. So probably not going to be seeing the Entomb off of that. But now you got 4 melees. So March the Black King going to get...
Well, Rhaegar is not going to be attacking. Certainly not anywhere near a Leoric. But Rhaegar is very, very good with Sonya and Muradin, and can be great with Greymane. I was kind of surprised at that we don't see Alex, although they do have the face melt, so maybe that makes sense. Junkrat gonna give very good poke, very good denial, but also the separation that Junkrat can give. Pair that with a slow totem from ETC and the burst potential. And I really like this comp that we're seeing out of Reborne.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna. I mean, if you get a good Junkrat flip, you know, you have just a ton of lockdown. A Kel'Thuzad.
Yeah, that's a very interesting pick.
That is certainly a pick.
They're gonna have to. Macroroni gonna have to be getting a lot of picks, as Kel'Thuzad doesn't come online until he gets picks. That said, the delete potential that Kel'Thuzad has can certainly enable kills onto a Sonya. This might suggest an Entomb rather than a March of the Black King as well. We'll have to see here as we head into this map. And looking at it, double mage setup by Macroroni into a Greymane Sonya Muradin. If Macroroni is a very good team, and if they weren't, I would immediately look at this and be like, Reborn won the draft really, 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 really hard. But Macroroni has something planned, and it's going to be very, very epic. And I'm very interested to see what it'll be.
Yeah, the only issue that I'm potentially seeing is that it's very, very execution heavy.
Yeah, I mean it is, but I mean we're not casting like Division C or Division B. I mean this is not even Division A. This is probably the best 2 teams in Nexus Gaming Series. So I think execution heavy comps can work. It's just a matter of how well they'll be countered. But we're going to jump here into the game. Going to be Macroroni and Cheese versus Reborn. Game number 1 on Towers of Doom. We got Nex Saturnus on Leoric, almost said Luther. Jägermeister going to be on that Li Ming. Winterheart going to be on Kel'Thuzad. Lucio going to be played by Amon, and Huff Money going to be on the ETC. Go ahead and introduce Reborn starting at the top.
And on the side of the Gravekeeper in red, you have Crosby on Rhaegar, Drek on Muradin, Showtime on Sonya, Unaverted on Junkrat, and Ragnarok on Greymane.
All right, and right out of the gate, neither team going for that fight mid, as oh dear, we're getting antsy in chat, but it's gonna be interesting. So right out of the gate, we're seeing kind of a three-man fight bot. Gonna see Li Ming versus Junkrat in the mid, Leoric Sonya in the top. Two interesting matchups, but obviously our attention's down here out of the gate.
Yeah, we're seeing nothing too special in terms of talents. You're seeing Third Wind instead of the, I almost want to say, standard Q build for Muradin. So you're looking at potentially running these team fights longer.
Well, it makes sense to me on the basis that Muradin can just eat a lot of the poke that Li Ming is going to throw out, and then just back up and heal. But while Ragnarok working on that siege camp, gonna have to be careful now because Crosby and Drek in a lot of trouble. Drek gonna dwarf toss back to the gate. We'll see if they saw the your sapper camp being taken. They did not. So trading out a bit. Crosby gonna have to back here, but sapper is gonna be grabbed.
Yeah, and that was really well played. I think if they had just a little bit more damage, they would have gotten that kill on Crosby. But good job getting out. Good job not panicking and trying to keep running through them to the gate, because he probably would have just stayed body blocked instead, running up to be with Muradin, who could help heal a little bit and give him that little bit more breathing room.
Yeah, and trying to walk the sappers in. Li Ming comes down to respond. Junkrat came as well. Li Ming gonna get dismounted a couple times. Gonna let Junkrat get back up into the lane, but Leoric having to back at that point for a bit. Drek trying to get onto this back line, but mostly just kind of taking the free damage that he knows he can heal up by just standing off to the side for a bit. Seeing Thunderburn taken, we've seen a lot of reverb from Muradin, but obviously that would make no sense here into this double mage comp, so pretty happy with that talent choice. As a big root hits Ragnarok, Muradin once again jumping into the back. Slow Totem coming in from Rhaegar. Rhaegar trying to get onto Winterheart. There comes Ragnarok jumping in. Looks like the push ran out of steam for Reborne. So far, no kills. Both teams playing very safe and very well.
Yeah, and I think that if the Greymane had been positioned a little further, or if potentially even Muradin had had a little bit more mana, that would have been one dead Lich, but he got out. Lucio, really good at doing that.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to see an even trade up on top. Poke in with the cocktail. Gonna huff money, trying to force kind of an early engage with the poke. But now with Leoric soaking top, ooh, Greymane getting separated out a bit with that power slide. But here come all 5 members of Reborne. Now with the Li Ming and Kel'Thuzad, they could poke, but currently not in a position to get that poke. So Crosby gonna get the channel. They sent Leoric up to side soak there, and there's gonna be a bit of soak lost by Reborne. But overall, I think they'll be happy with that trade on Reborne's side.
Yeah, I think one thing that we're going to be potentially needing to watch out for is, you know, you had the Leoric in top getting that side soak, but you still see the advantage for the red team in terms of experience. It's not that much, maybe a wave or two.
It's like a pixel, not even a wave or two. No, that is like a minion of difference. They're practically...
Yeah, so not really getting the whole lot of value that he potentially would have gotten coming down, forcing either the back line off or going for a kill. But you see the Muradin just in there soaking up that damage, and he's going to walk away, let his trait activate, and
and
heal it all back up.
And one thing I like, whenever Muradin gets that chain, he actually dives deeper to make it harder to land. But there's the Ice Spike. Going to force out a cleanse from Drek there. Now Ragnarok jumping in onto Amon, as does Crosby. But Li Ming coming in on the flank. Going to do quite a bit of damage. Here comes Junkrat joining the fight. There's the power slide on the Drek. He does have the chain, but the chain combo misses. And a lot of near misses there, and a lot of close calls. Both teams going to be able to walk away to lick their wounds as we head into towards this second shrine phase.
But I think one thing that we're definitely seeing here is just that power of Lucio, where after that fight you had, I believe Muradin tapped, I believe Greymane tapped, and I'm pretty sure Rhaegar tapped. I don't think anybody tapped on the side of the blue team. And, you know, Lucio just went in there, healed him up, so even if they start to get poked out a little bit here, they can just fall back, tap, and just re-engage. Whereas the red team doesn't have that luxury.
Yeah, but red team did manage to trade out. Junkrat got that mid soak. Gonna see the flank coming in here from Jägermeister. Unaverted, walking up towards the safety of Sonya. Good anticipation. Here comes D-Rek, once again taking quite a bit of damage. Stormpult, though, onto Huff Money. Huff Money gonna get chunked out here, having used the face melt to disengage, but gonna be able to do so. Another chain combo, this time doesn't connect at all. D-Rek gonna get that third win proc, but Sappers were picked up in top by Sonya. Got a decent amount of wall damage. Both teams, though, very equal in XP. This is a very even game, and I can't wait to see what happens when we hit 10.
Oh, aggressive play here from blue team.
Ooh, but there's a big root. Cleanse onto Greymane since D-Rek has the Dwarf Toss to get out. D-Rek Dwarf Tossing to a little bit of an awkward spot, leaving Crosby in not a good position. Crosby doing everything he can to get away. Down to about 300 health here. Li Ming going to try to get the finish. There's the orb. Barely misses. Crosby actually having to eat a tower shot there. Meanwhile, down here on bottom, and actually Junkrat managing to save Crosby, saving Private Rhaegar. Wow, cannot believe Crosby got out of that.
Yeah, that was definitely, and it's gonna force. They're gonna get 10 first. They're probably gonna be able to force the engage here. I think that if they had a slightly earlier rotation down, they probably could have gotten at least one kill there.
Ooh, there's an ice spike onto Junkrat. He's going to use his own mind to get out, but Junkrat not going to go away. And that was our first kill of the game, and that's actually going to equal up the XP. There was a slight edge over to Reborne. Shadow Fissure going to interrupt Crosby's channel, but looking at talents, obviously we have Shadow Fissure. Entomb was the choice rather than March. Sound Barrier, Wave of Force. ETC has not picked his talent yet. And that's,
Part of me wants to see the mosh pit because you just have so much burst on the side of Kel'Thuzad and Li Ming. Kel'Thuzad's three away from finishing. You get a good mosh, easily finish, and then you can just start to blow people up left and right.
Yeah, but looking at the other side, we have Ancestral, Avatar, Wrath, Riptire, and Go for the Throat. So Greymane, go for the Throat, going to try to get onto those squishies. As we see pretty much just a cleanup on bottom. Both teams kind of continuing to soak. This is just such a close back and forth game. Sonya going to be able to get out of there. Taking some Shadow Fissure damage. Not going to be too worried about that. Turning in onto that Leoric to get some trade damage there. Actually, this is maybe a lethal 1v1. Neither player looking to back off, but Sonya going to try to walk up these pumpkin sappers.
And
now turning,
we see stage dive.
There's stage dive, but next Eternus actually goes down. If Sonya can just stay alive, gonna get the slow. No one gonna be able to flank, and Sonya should be able to survive 1v1 against ETC at bare minimum. Just needs to get away before Leoric's back. But here comes Rhaegar, and now turn around onto Huff Money. Huge win for Reborne as Sonya basically out-trades Leoric, and then with the help of Rhaegar, turns around, finishes ETC. Here in the bottom lane, though, Muradin gonna get picked off, so 2-for-1 trade, and actually ETC will be back up. We did see the stage dive from ETC, as we talked about.
Yeah, and what benefit, off of the kill is that they did get Avatar out, but you see Li Ming just getting blown up there.
Yeah, the Riptire doing quite a bit of damage, but now Ragnarok stuck in the Entomb, and actually Showtime goes in as well and gets rooted, so Ragnarok comes down. Here comes the Ancestral, just trying to keep Sonya up. But the shrine, the solo shrine, was channeled by Reborne. They now have an 8-point lead, and that, that's no small advantage in a game this close.
Yeah, we also saw Lucio going down there. Not entirely sure what killed him. I think it might have been the Junkrat, but We
Yeah.
saw Lucio go down near the end there, and I don't know about the stage dive pick, honestly. I think Mosh Pit would have been better here. Yeah, there's a lot of interrupts, but
Yeah.
they're grouping really hard to protect each other, and I think you could have gotten, a 3 or a 4-man Mosh, because Riptire doesn't
Right.
interrupt. Grammy
I
doesn't have an interrupt. Rhaegar doesn't have an
Yeah.
interrupt.
I think the goal is to allow ETC to play more global to soak that XP, as well as basically if you land a good entomb, ETC can stage dive on the back side of it to zone out the rest of the team to just further isolate the target. But I think it's more a combo thing. I can respect it here given how valuable the slow would be, especially with the Lucio.
Yeah. I just think that they would have potentially gotten more out of Mosh because several of these fights, I
Right.
think they could have...
Ooh, but there's a big power slide, and they're going to collect Rhaegar with that pinball. Muradin going to be the next to fall. Now Showtime going to need the Riptire just to escape. But there's a huge entomb. Great flank by Nex Eternus. And now Showtime getting focused on the wrong side. Tries to use the Mystical Spear to escape, but didn't actually have that talent. Had the Whirlwind does more healing. Still going to be able to stay alive. But now Ragnarok and Unaverted in trouble. And they could both go down. Ragnarok has 40 HP. Gonna survive. But that is a huge win for Macroroni. And they should be able to even up the game here at 20 apiece. This game is just very, very even.
Yeah, and we saw, again, Avatar getting popped, but just getting blown up from the double mage damage.
And actually, correction, that was the triple shrine phase. I did not catch the shrine in the bot lane, so they went from trailing by 8 to leading by 4, so huge teamfight win for Macroroni.
Yeah, we also see that level 1 talent, I think, coming into play in that fight from Kel'Thuzad with Barb Chains, because you reduce the armor by 15 for 4 seconds, so that just means that your 2 bursty mages are just doing even more burst.
Yeah. So far, it was a very, very slow game in terms of kills when it started up, as we see Prog Rock finished. Very slow. We didn't get any kill until one team was level 10. Since then, though, it's just the floodgates have opened. 6 kills to 4, favoring Macroroni off that last team fight specifically.
Yeah, and they took that 8-point deficit, and now they're in a 4-point lead, so... winning that one big team fight let them get 3 altars, and just... Now they're in the driver's seat. They have 16 first. They can potentially force a fight if they wanted to.
Yeah. It's going to be... 16's going to be picked up pretty quick here. They do have, though, 2 people, Sonya and Junkrat up top. And now that scene, we're seeing Huff Money engage. Looks like the focus target's onto Ragnarok. And there was a fantastic combo by Winterheart, followed up with the power slide. And Greymane just got deleted from the planet. My goodness.
Yeah, and then meanwhile in top lane you had Sonya and Junkrat just taking a little bit of time to kill the Leoric, but they did get it. They have Wrath Pop, so...
and they are actually going to get a Sapper shot here, too. So, going to close the deficit back to 3, but already a bit of an awkward spot here. D-Rec going to get an early Ancestral. Junkrat Tire, though, going to collect Kel'Thuzad, and now with Showtime coming in on that Sonya, focusing down on Amon. Amon going to go down. This is actually going to be a Shrine with 5 shots going over to Reborne.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
You just see the Junkrat flank, even though it wasn't the longest range, Riptire. It doesn't need to be if you're able to just jump onto the back line, because they have no real ability to protect from Riptire.
Yeah, and it one-shot Kel'Thuzad, and then it also displaced enough that Lucio was able to get caught out, so it was a very good Riptire, perfect engage. Showtime coming in on the flank at just the right time. And really there, Reborne just got the best of both worlds. They got that top fort, won it up there, and even though Greymane got deleted, they still were able to rotate down faster. Now, need to be careful. Chain missing there from Kel'Thuzad, so this is bot keep going over. Top keep had been converted back, so it's only still a 2 keep deficit. Ooh, Nex Eternus looking for the Entomb. Nope. Change of plan.
I think that just goes to what I was saying earlier, that this is a very, very execution heavy like the burden of execution is 100% on the blue team, and if they're not able to, if the stars don't align,
Yeah.
that they're in a world of hurt, and we're just seeing that on every engage where they don't see the flank coming, and it just blows up in their face. Partially because you have a Junkrat
Right.
exploding everywhere, but
Well, it's if they're able to get that first kill, they've been able to usually do something with it. I think in that particular situation, they got a little bit out macroed, and that is partly because they didn't really have enough damage to burn that bot fort. But meanwhile, top boss was picked up, and it looks like actually they're going to forgo top boss. Turning now on to Huff Money is Sonya and and Crosby on the Rhaegar. Gonna give up the bottom shrine, trying to push in top, reclaim that. So 12 to 10 here. Meanwhile, though, Next Eternus came up through the middle and paid for it dearly. Bot keep converted for blue, top keep about to be converted for red, though.
yeah, again, I think this is just, I haven't seen them get a whole lot of value out of the stage dive, and I'm still questioning that a little bit. I understand what they want to be doing with it, but I just think that, I honestly think Mosh Pit would have been a safer option, and it takes a little bit of that burden off of.
Yeah.
Right there.
Ooh, big power slide onto Showtime, followed up by Kel'Thuzad. Ancestral's going to save Sonya, but Junkrat on the other side of that chain going to go down. Leoric coming back up right now. Got the Entomb. West Virginia showing. Got the Entomb onto Ragnarok. Ragnarok using the Dark Flake to try to get over the wall. Now trying to turn around, get back to base. Ragnarok is somehow going to escape. Shadow Fissure not going to collect it, but Leoric selling out a bit. Nope, backing up. Going to take some tower shots for the kill, but that was such a good escape by Ragnarok. Still, though, with Junkrat down to that burst combo, slight advantage now to Macroroni. They're going to grab bot sappers, and these sappers don't have to get through a keep. And so this is going to have to potentially be cleared on the side of Reborne, which means Macroroni can get a little bit aggressive onto this fort phase, I think.
Yeah. But see, I think for me, I just see, if you'd had Mush, you'd have more than just Junkrat down. When he went in, that was a perfect opportunity for at least a 4-man Mosh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not necessarily to say that Reborn would put themselves in that position playing into a Mosh, though. I think it's something you have to be fair with. You're not you play very different against and so I think they're playing very aggressive and stacking up a bit. And they have gotten punished a bit for it, but I also think that it's
they can get away with that.
They can get it, and they're knowledgeable enough to know they can. But both forts gonna be converted back to their rightful owners, and it is 6 to 6. You cannot buy this drama at your local video store, folks, because the video store closed because videos are passé. But go ahead.
Because who watches VHSs anymore?
Yeah. I have a working VCR still. For some reason. But
I watch online.
Yeah. Anyway. Bot fort gonna be converted now, so kind of both teams shell gaming each other a bit. Top Sapper's going to walk up here. Gonna be able to pressure this fort, but I don't know if they're gonna be able to get it before red team can rotate up. And Winterheart and Next Eternus need to start being aware of where the red team is. Potentially start backing up. No, it looks like we're going to see Reborn actually just push in and take mid-keep. And this is actually going to set up a lethal. In the current situation, if they get either of these turn-ins, they win the game. Now, I expect bottom to be reconverted back soon, so that won't last. But it will still leave just one shot on the core. So this is potentially game here. The winner of this team fight very probably wins the game. Leoric gonna once again use the Spooky Ghost to engage, looking for that Entomb opportunity. Sonya coming in on the Huff Money. Huff Money getting separated out by the Junkrat. Here comes the Riptire, but a sound barrier. Cleanse has to be used on Ragnarok, who is so low. Entomb drop, but then immediately lifted. Might have been a double tap there as Ragnarok gonna be able to get away. Direct trying to move on to the backline, but Next Eternus going to set him up. Ooh, there's a good KT combo onto Direct. But here comes Greymane back in, trying to get onto Leoric. Leoric gonna go down to Crosby. Now Showtime moving in towards this backline. Junkrat and ETC playing Ring Around the Rosie in the middle, while Sonya is just trying to get all over this backline. Crosby starting the channel a bit. Junkrat also channeling, but now Crosby gonna take quite a bit of Li Ming damage. There's the Wave of Force. Crosby is so low, gonna juke the Mirror Ball. Now Blue moving up to defend this point. Stage Dive coming in with the Shadow Fissure, doing a ton of damage on Inverted, but ETC gets immediately deleted, and now Kel'Thuzon's gonna go down, and Reborne loses Greymane as well, though. So far, though, with 3 deaths, it looks like Reborne going to be able to get this channel, leaving the core of Macroroni at 0 HP. What a game. That was so close and so back and forth.
Yeah, and honestly, if it was me playing that, and this might just be, I'm not quite a Dive player, give up one of the altars and go take boss, because by the time the altars spawned, boss had about 20 seconds left.
Are you talking about at the end there, or?
Yep, there were the 2 altars spawned, but boss was also up.
Right, but the boss would have only given 4 shots, and either core or Reborn was lethal.
Well, no, but you get both cores had 6, so you could potentially give up.
No,
take one.
No, Reborn had 5. Macro had Macro had 5. Reborn had 6, and Reborn currently possessed 4 keeps plus 1 was 5. So they had to get either channel was lethal. A boss would not have been lethal because a boss would have only been 4.
Yeah, I thought both had 6. That's why I was saying,
no.
Give one, take boss.
Well, either way though, there were two shrines up, so you pretty much had to fight down there either way. But we're gonna get set up for game number 2 here, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to game number 2 of this big series between Macroroni and Cheese and Reborn. And Reborn actually taking game number 1. So I will update the UI to reflect that. As we head into the draft now for Battlefield of Eternity, this was Reborne's map. Very, very close game number 1. Probably the closest game of Towers of Doom I've casted here in the Nexus Gaming Series. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, it was very close. You know, a lot of times when you see Towers of Doom, you don't generally see it go back and forth that easily. A lot of times it's, 20 shots to 0 by the time of the end, or 16 to 0. It's not usually, fighting one altar phase determines the game like that for both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it was one alter phase determined game. I mean, it came down to the last, but it was. I mean, it was just both teams had such good plays at such good moments. Macroroni had a certainly niche comp, but they executed it for pickoffs very well. It just seemed that Reborn, because they had the better structure damage, was able to just abuse late game, kind of the shell game effect, and they played their macro much, much better in that situation, I think, than Macroroni did. And it ultimately helped them eke out the win because it forced Macro to have to fight them late, kind of 5v5 straight up, not being able to get that pick off.
Yeah, so we're gonna see if they go for a similar comp and, go for another really execution heavy, or if they go for a little bit more forgiving of a comp. But we see Greymane banned here.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Yeah, Hanzo. Probably
Yeah,
the best racer in the game right now.
right. That W build is, let's call it, problematic. But so two of the best racers banned out. Genji gives really good dive and engage. So this map, there's a lot of everyone's. That is a high priority onto the Malfurion. I am like, the Sonya does not surprise me. Very good solo lane and actually good race. The Malfurion surprises me this early, especially with the Genji shown. Now, Malfurion can deal with Genji post 13 with the Ice Block, and of course you have Twilight Dream. If you're able to land that, you can kill Genji, but I'm just surprised that early of a Malfurion.
Well, and I think that's exactly why, because both teams hit 10. If they hit 10 at the same time like they did last game, you just drop Twilight Dream on top of the Genji. But now you're going to be running into some problems.
Yeah, there's the sound barrier and there's the tormented souls. And so unless you get a really, really good Twilight Dream, you might be able to bait it out with Genji, follow it up with the sound barrier, and then tormented souls. And Malfurion's just in a lot of trouble at that point. But I mean, overall, his healing output can be strong. And the ice block is going to let him get away with a lot, I think. But Arthas going to be banned. I love that ban, given Arthas could enable the dive engage. Arthas Lucia is very strong, and it's going to make Sonya's auto attack slow.
Yeah, I think another thing, especially with that high prioritization on the Malfurion, is just he struggles a little bit against this kind of sustain and burst. If it's all sustain, he's one of the better healers because of the way his heal works. But he's gonna be put to his test.
Mm.
So you need ETC hover here.
Yeah, ETC I think would be a strong ban. Malfurion's root does take just the slightest of seconds to hit, and so having someone CC'd allows you to get a certain sweet spot to allow that rapid connect, and then you can follow that up with a lot of tools. So I do respect the ETC ban, again, just from the status of how strong of a warrior he is, and the fact that you can reasonably expect that ETC was going to be picked up by Reborn in this rotation. So now, what do they audible to? With ETC and Arthas down, those have been kind of the top two tanks we've seen in HGC. We've seen a bit of Muradin, we've seen a bit of Joanna. I would probably expect a Muradin. Maybe?
Well, Muradin going into Avatar just gives Malthael a ton of healing.
It does. That could lead into a Joanna then, and Joanna can actually deal with it well. My issue with Joanna is she doesn't have, unless she hits Blessed Shield onto Genji, she doesn't have the best way to deal with it. And it's going to be the Anubarak. I really like that choice, You cocoon when Souls comes out. And then you also take Li Ming. It denies a cocoon burn, but it also gives you very good poke onto the Immortal. So, if, in terms of Immortal burn, Li Ming, certainly the best mage, and not a bad hero in general.
But the question becomes, you have two cocoon targets, Genji and Malthael.
I think it's Malthael. I think Genji, if you just because presumably Genji's gonna have to come somewhere near Malfurion to get to Li Ming, which is gonna be his target. So presumably you Twilight Dream and then you cocoon Malthael if he's not already in the back line. And at that point, I mean, Li Ming, I would say Calamity build on this map, the Seeker build can just be very, very good for the Immortal burn, but with so much dive, I almost think she has to go that. But I think there's enough to deal with a Genji.
Well, there's a lot of holding in place, so your missiles are going to get a lot of value because you have Zarya Garrosh. That is a very beefy front line.
I actually like the Garrosh into the Sonya. The Zarya is surprising to me. I mean, she's pretty good into Li Ming because of the predictable damage. She can eat it. Zarya is actually going to potentially be able to be really good at pushing, which I think is good to get because Genji and Malthael don't do good siege damage, but I'm just it's an interesting comp. I think Zarya does fill that role of both dealing with Li Ming's damage, but also with just siege damage. I would expect Feel the Heat 1. And I think Garrosh's job is just going to be to separate out Sonya, but and there's the Medivh, which is a great Garrosh counter. So this is wow. The team fights are going to be insane. Go ahead.
Yeah, he also counters Malthael and Genji because they go in, you ley line them, and then just walk away.
You can ley line and walk away. You also have, just for when Garrosh flips, you have the portal. You have the protect for, if someone gets kind of trapped out and locked away. But we'll have to see where this goes as we jump here into game number 2. On Battlefield of Eternity, both teams have kind of a good poke Immortal burner in terms of Malthael going to be able to use his E, Li Ming going to be able to use Seekers. There's a better solo laner on the side, of course, of Reborne in Sonya. Although it could be a skill matchup with Malthael. I'm very interested to see. I imagine there's something I'm missing with that Garrosh Zarya. And I'm looking forward to seeing it as we jump here into map number 2. On the left side, we're going to have Macroroni and Trees trying to even up this series, trying to avoid getting the 0-2 loss. Next Eternus is going to be on Malthael, Huff Money going to be on Garrosh, Jägermeister going to be on Genji, Amon going to be once again on Lucio, and Winterheart going to be on the Zarya. And starting at the bottom lane, go ahead and introduce Reborn.
And on the side of Reborn and on the side of Hell and Belith, you have G-Rek on Anub'arak, Crosby on Malfurion, Unaverted on Medivh, Ragnarok on Li Ming, and Showtime on Sonya.
Yep. And it looks like we're actually seeing Malthael hanging out in the mid, potentially looking for the members, and already trying to get onto D-Rek. D-Rek, though, going to be able to just burrow charge on out of there. Going to have Malthael now rotating top. Medivh going to see that rotation. Going to be able to alert Sonya. Sonya just hanging out in the bush at the moment, but 4-man push down here while Medivh rotates in. One kind of downside of Reborn's comp is here in this 4-man, they are absolutely relying on Li Ming to do all of the damage.
Yeah, I think this time that Reborn has the execution put on their shoulders with Medivh and solo damage Li Ming essentially until level 7 when you get Master's Touch, and Sonya starts to beef up a little bit more, especially if she goes Wrath. But for the most part, it's solo damage Li Ming in this early game, and I don't know if solo damage Li Ming can get through Zarya, Lucio, Garrosh.
Well,
as we see.
especially with the Zarya shield. I mean, she's just constantly charging that. Every time Li Ming throws out a skill shot, the shield is able to come in and just charge it up. And then you see Li Ming trying to poke onto the backline, Winterheart just walking right into it, eating that, getting the full energy. Because you have the passive Lucio healing, you know, you can afford to trade out a little bit to just get a massive amount of damage into a Mathael, who is more, or into a Malfurion, excuse me, who is more mana hungry, as we take a look at the level 1 talents. It is Feel the Heat, Swift Strike build, seeing the On a Pale Horse, Unrivaled Strength, and Accelerando, Spell Shield from Anubarak. We have the Innervate coming out onto Malfurion, the Portal Duration, there's the Force Armor, not a surprise, and War Paint. It's a pretty meta picks. Ooh, Direct, though, gonna get flipped. There's Medivh Portal, a little bit short range, not going to be able to go very far with that, but Direct's still gonna get out of there.
Yeah, and we're just kind of seeing the fact that solo damage Li Ming, not necessarily the most reliable amount of damage, as Macroroni and Cheese is just able to clean the lane really easily, push in, and you can just tell by the fact that their structure is completely pristine. Reborne structure is taking a little bit of damage here.
But no one on Macroroni and Cheese currently picking up their Bruiser Camp, whereas Sonya picking up the Bruiser Camp and should be able to time it rather well with the Immortals coming out. Only now does Mathael rotate onto the Immortal. With them spawning in 3 seconds, so this should give an early burn advantage, excuse me, to Reborne. Although, actually now, with the Siege Giants picked up in bottom, that's going to be even more pressure for Reborne to have to rotate down.
Yeah, and I think that they're just going to Garrosh in a little bit of trouble.
He takes a lot of that damage at one time from Li Ming with the good root, and that's where, when Sonya comes in, there is a ton of damage now. I mean, once someone gets rooted, they're going to take huge amounts of damage. Unaverted, though, getting thrown. Here comes the root, trying to zone out the remaining members of blue. There's a big root, though, onto Huff Money. Follow up with a lot of damage. Mathael going in with the E there, Death Shroud, trying to get some degree of poke, and it's working out as Genji was able to soak that top lane. That gives an advantage in XP over to Macroroni, who seem to be playing this map a little bit better at the moment.
Yeah, and I mean, neither team really has a huge ability to race yet. Li Ming going dominant, so they're banking on getting kills instead of going for. I believe she has a missile talent at level 4.
She does, but it's not a particularly, like, dominance is still very popular. You do auto attack, extra auto attack damage to someone you hit with Q. Right. It's not particularly popular. I've seen it, but certainly dominance can be a lot better, and it potentially could suggest. I mean, especially with the root, you can still expect to land Qs, so you could still see a 7, but it could also suggest Calamity. But during that time, you know, top lane was reliably soaked there by Macroroni. Although experience still even, Macroroni did get the first kill, but they have a huge burn advantage and should get an Immortal with about 30-25% shields.
Yeah, and this is going to be where we see if they can defend on it. They have...
Ooh, separation onto Ragnarok. Li Ming trying to get out of there, but Genji all over the backline. Second kill there for Jägermeister as he picked off the Medivh earlier. Very good Genji play on the side of that man there. D-Rack having to rotate all the way down and back, but Nexi Turn is actually going to put the poison and threaten quite a bit. So Anubarak nor Li Ming going to be here early on this defense. This is a big, big advantage for Macroroni.
They're just... These lanes have already been softened because, you know, you had the Malthael versus the Sonya, and that's kind of a bit of a skill matchup, but, you know, first keep going down really easily. Yeah,
the fort goes down. Li Ming doing decent poke damage there. Now that Anubarak's here, could potentially chunk a bit more. But they have to focus this damage onto the Immortal, and Li Ming actually getting some really good damage there onto Garrosh. And there's a flank onto Lucio. Anubarak diving in with the Burrow Charge. Huff Money flipping Anubarak out there to save Lucio. But already the wall mostly lost, now unaverted in such a bad spot. Next, Eternus and Genji, Jägermeister going to secure the kill. But now Huff Money, the focus again of this Sonya. Healing ward coming down. Sonya trying to run away, but there's a big stun by Garrosh. Once again, Jägermeister with just that killer instinct. Jägermeister dropping below 100 health. Going to be able to get away. Next, Eternus going to go down to the root and the burrow charge. But 4 kills to 1. Jägermeister just making such good dive decisions this game.
Yeah, and like you said, might be seeing it. Well, we are seeing Calamity. Not 100% sure I agree with that, but you know, we said the same thing about the stage dive, and it didn't necessarily work out for them, but that was also from... That just put even more execution on them.
Yeah. I'm actually going to disagree. I think Calamity is the better choice because of the way the engagements are happening. You are seeing Genji and Mathael dive. That's how the engage starts. You follow up with a Twilight Dream and into some Calamity. It's going to do good work. Medivh getting separated out there. Already blew the Force of Will and not going to be able to get away. Medivh playing a little bit out of position there a couple of times. Getting picked off, I believe, for the 3rd time. There's the Challenger's war cry. D-Rec and Crosby in such a bad spot. Huff Money has Malf locked down, but actually going to die. Trying to secure the kill. Malf going to not be able to get out, though, as Winterheart securing the turnaround. But already almost a 2-level lead. As Mathael actually gets killed in the bottom there by Sonya. So that's going to help out a bit, but still, level 10... on the horizon, not yet there for Reborne. But once they get there, I think they can start to make a comeback. This Zarya does tend to lead. Zarya Garrosh does tend to lead to an early game, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, one big problem that Reborne has is Medivh dying. Reset his Master's Touch. Not sure how many stacks he has, but I can tell you how many he has now, and that is 0.
Indeed it is, and he's died a few times now, so it's been reset. But here come the level 10s. We do have the Ley Line, we do have the Twilight Cocoon, Wave of Force, and the Wrath of the Berserker. But now it's going to have to be a big defense on the side of Reborne, as already they're immortal down to half health. And given that this time, you know, bottom lane being soaked here on the side of Macroroni, you know, they have that level lead. There's going to have to be engaged soon. Once they're going to flip onto a Nubarak, there's a root onto Zarya. Expulsion, then separate out, but there's a Twilight Dream going to secure the kill onto Mathael. Leyline Seal, locking down Zarya. Here comes Li Ming. Li Ming starting to pop off. Picks up 2 kills there. Great job, and now that's what Reborne needed. They're back in this game off just those 2 kills. Still big structure deficit, but they're in the game.
Yeah, and we saw the Cocoon go onto the Lucio, which meant every bit of damage that they put out stuck onto the Zarya, onto the Mathael, and it's just they weren't able to keep them alive because, you know, Lucio was in the Cocoon.
Yeah, and with Li Ming and Sonya both burning, it's just D-Rec trying to zone off as much as it can the members of Macroroni. This Immortal race is close, but Macroroni looks to be on the winning side of it for now. Now Tormented Souls was used, trying to look for some way to get onto Averted to force an engagement, but the portal's going to secure the getaway. Now, this Immortal still picked up by Macroroni, not as strong as the last one, but we'll see if that Zarya pressure once again secures a quick fort, as Sonya looks like gonna rotate down help on this defense.
Yeah, and we have Master's Touch at 13, probably gonna be 15 or so soon with the way that they're grouping right now, but Cocoon goes out onto Lucio. Are we gonna see, we might see another engage?
Yeah, and it did go onto Lucio to prevent the sound barrier so they could dive and blow up the garage, and now a Leyline Seal used. Just going to be disengaged off of, though, trying to get onto the Immortal, try to prevent from losing any more structures. It was a good kill onto Garrosh. I think, you know, if they wanted, they could have gotten more, but I think it was the right decision there to just save the fort. Now we're going to see, actually, bot Siege Camp. Going to get picked up here as Sonya starts to rotate back top.
Or it looks like they might be staying group, looking for something.
Ooh, Sonya actually getting on to the Genji Jaeger. Going to be able to Swift Strike out of there. There goes Zarya in with the Expulsion Zone. Going to be able to steal this camp. But at what cost? Is it looks like there may have been some accidental portal clicks there, maybe, because I think they could have turned around on the Zarya, but now with Garrosh here, they're starting to back off with Garrosh Mathael, not wanting the 5v5 fight into the level 13s. And that should be a fort going over to Macroroni, who will improve their structural lead.
Yeah, and this is a big wave going in, so we might even see a little bit of structure damage onto the keep walls. Because that's looks like about a wave and a half stacked with that camp behind, but Leeming just going through and clearing it pretty easily.
And bullying now with 13s. Macroroni going to step in onto this bruiser camp. Going to pick that up as well. Leeming still having to deal with siege camp here in the bottom. You're going in trying to be a little bit annoying with the poke, but Showtime going to get protect, be able to be fine. But Mathael going to be able to get this bottom bruiser camp before the phase starts and top siege camp. So a clean sweep of the camps here by Macroroni. As but a big ley line looking for the engage. Here comes Mathael stepping in. There's a big root, but doesn't collect anyone. Now on to Garrosh. Garrosh going to take some damage, but here comes the rotation. Jägermeister on the backline. Sonya trying to zone out the members, getting stunned out. Now it's a retreat by Reborne once again. They have the ley line, and they're not able to get the engage. Reborne just a little bit off in their execution, it seems.
Yeah, and, you know, like I said at the beginning, the execution is squarely on Reborne, and that was a 5v4. That was a fight that, you know, they should have had pretty easily because Mathael was off doing the camp. So, you know, yeah, you still have that really strong
but here comes the focus onto Huff Money. Sound barrier going to be proc. Crosby trying to step up for the Twilight Dream, getting flipped out. There comes, Expulsion Zone going to secure the kill onto Mathael. And down he goes. And the members of Reborn are just starting to drop. Showtime not going to be able to survive due to the poison damage. 3 kills off the fantastic Expulsion Zone. Once again, resetting Medivh. And looks like Macroroni could take a huge lead in this game coming up in just a bit.
Yeah, with that, they're going to be hitting 15. You know, almost more than a full level, you know, not for very long, but that's probably going to be, at the very least, I'm going to say 50% of this keep, if not fully gone.
I think this keep is very probably gone on the basis that 16s are going to be picked up as soon as the wall goes down. Plus, Sonya going to have to stay top to clear up the siege, or the Khazra camp, in the top. You know, this is just going to be an attempt to poke and do as much damage as you can. But this keep, I would be shocked if this keep were standing. And if Reborn gets a couple people picked off against level 16s, it very well could be the game. So they're just playing super careful at the moment.
But we do see...
Huff Money getting the speed boost. There's the taunt onto Medivh, and Medivh does get deleted, and that could be a bad sign for Reborn. Showtime and D-Rec having to retreat, and now this is the keep going down. Huff Money flipping Crosby. Crosby gonna get separated. Crosby does not have Twilight Dream, and down goes Malfurion. Sonya trying to whirlwind to stay alive, gets interrupted. Sonya's gonna go down, and this will be GG. Macroroni. Boy, game number 1 was back and forth. Game number 2 certainly was not, as Macroroni gonna draw the series at 1-1. What a great set, though, between these two juggernaut NGS teams.
Yeah, this game really back and forth, but you could tell that Macroroni was pretty much just, you know, first game they might have been a little bit, don't want to say a fluke, but the way they played in this game, it was just so clean. I think one thing on both sides was that both games that both of these teams lost, or each game that both of these teams lost, was due to just how execution heavy their comps were.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I don't think that's all of it. I think game number 1,
they got out macroed, I think.
They got out macroed. I think they had a fine teamfight comp. I just think that the bigger thing wasn't the difficulty to execute. It was the inability to rapidly siege structures down. which just got abused in the late game. But then in game number 2, I think it was more that the execution was really, really strong on the side of Macroroni, and I think that some execution was maybe left to be desired on the side of Reborne. But we're going to see if we can get a post-game interview, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Yeah.
All right, and we're back here as I am joined by Jägermeister and Crosby. Jägermeister of Macroroni and Cheese, and Crosby
Thank you for
of
pronouncing that.
yeah, I'm doing my best. I certainly screwed it up more than once. And then Crosby of Reborne. So great set there, especially game number 1. I want to start with Crosby with Reborne. Very back and forth game number 1. You know, one team would get a lead, but it would never be by more than, say, like 4 structure points. The other team would turn around. You guys lost the triple shrine phase, but then managed to get that game back. What was kind of the mindset into how you accomplished that, and what were your goals, you know, after you lost that triple shrine phase?
I think just with the double mage, I mean their entire setup was get one pick and then snowball from there. So we spent a lot of the game kind of running away from them, to not give them that opportunity, and where we could just kind of chip shot structures. Luckily, the way the timing worked, we could get that middle structure since we only had 5 shots left, and then play for one of the 2 and kind of split them apart because they had a really strong 5-man. So as long as we kept them apart, it worked out.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think that was the thing that both Zaleb and I keyed on was at the end of the game. It just seemed the siege damage favored you guys, as well as you got kind of late advantage off a team fight to be able to convert some structures. Jaeger, what was your team? You know, with the double mage there, that was a risky strat. Like, what is that something that you guys kind of planned, or did you think that it would be good to just get to blow up onto the the Greymane or the Junkrat or even the Sonya with as much burst as it had? What was the thought process behind that comp?
It's something that we haven't really run as a team before, but Winterheart is really comfy on Kel'Thuzad, and I'm really comfy on Lei Ming, and it's something that I've done a few times in like some Hero League games where you get the Kel'Thuzad setup, you usually get a free Lei Ming reset off of that, and you're able to chew through their team. So that's kind of like how we were going about setting that up. We got the Leorc and ETC just so we had a pretty strong front line to duel their Murd and Sonya, which is really potent. But yeah, that's the general philosophy behind that, is if you get that one big combo from the Kel'Thuzad, hopefully you strain the Rhaegar's cleanse and then you're able to win the fight after there.
Yeah,
welcome to my life.
Alright, so jumping into map number 2. Both drafts were, I mean, very interesting from a standpoint of, we did get a chance to see a lot of different heroes that I haven't had a chance to see as much, both in NGS and Casting Heroes hype last week, which has a bunch of open division teams, and watching HGC. So we did see the Zarya and the Garrosh, which I haven't seen much of. We also saw a Medivh. So I'll start with Crosby. Going with the early Malfurion pick. Is that something that's kind of unique to this map? Do you think that Malfurion's very strong? Because he was picked, with your first 2 picks.
They had the Genji. We kind of had a feeling that the Lucio was going to come. So generally, when you see those Genji Lucio, they threw the Malthael on top of it. It's kind of an all-in, and it's risky. But if you can nail the Twilight Dream, you can shut down those 3 heroes at once. The problem is we got into some team fights in choke points we didn't necessarily need, and we got split, and it just didn't work out. But Malph's a decent Genji and a decent Malthael counter if you can't get the Lucio.
Yeah, we definitely saw a couple good splits there from Zarya as well that enabled some fights. So I guess now turning to Jaeger, I was really surprised when I saw the last two picks, the Zarya Garrosh, just because that was not the direction we were talking it would go at all. But I mean, it worked. I guess what's the thought process there behind picking the Zarya Garrosh?
So for Zarya, really what we were looking to do was find a reliable way to take care of the cocoon. So Zarya has those rapid auto attacks. We normally like to go for the Laming there, which I'm sure they picked up on because they went Laming and Nubrak
Right.
in there in a single rotation. So the Zarya kind of gives us a way to give us a little move speed for the Garrosh to get up in there and get some throws. Gives us a way to burn the cocoon and gives us like a soft counter to Laming and like gives us a little more immortal DPS.
Right.
But in terms of the Garrosh, Huff is probably like a top 100 Garrosh in North America, so we put him on that.
All right. So looking at that game, not as back and forth as game number one. It seemed things got a little bit away from you there, Reborn. Crosby, if kind of looking back at it, where do you think it kind of started to get away from you guys, and what do you think you can do to kind of grow from that?
I think we underestimated the move shield on the Zarya, because I mean we've picked Medivh into Garrosh before and it's usually fine, but when you portal away from the Garrosh and then he gets a movement speed shield and he's on top of your other portal, it doesn't work out that well.
Yeah, it was a very interesting combo, and now I kind of want to steal that idea, Jaeger. So I plan to do just that.
Wouldn't be the first.
Yeah. All right. So starting with this series was a draw. Now, there were a lot of eyes specifically on these two teams. I mean, we got a lot of Nexus Gaming Series veterans on these two teams, but a lot of eyes on these two teams in Division A. So in one way, it's kind of nice to see this series draw. Starting with Jaeger, do you see yourselves as the best team in Division A? And if so, where do you rank Reborn? And Crosby, I will ask you the same question. But starting with Jaeger.
I think that there's I haven't seen too much of Team Caliber. I know they're really hyped. We've played against Reborn in a scrim about a month ago, and they beat us pretty consistently. We were trying out some support players then. We have our roster stable now. We're really confident in our play style whenever we get it going, and we think that we're the best team in Division A. But I definitely think that, obviously, as you can see today, Reborn played us to a tie, and they're really good as well. But it's going to come down to the playoffs, and I look forward to them.
All right, Crosby, same question.
Yeah, I think we're up there along with Macroroni and Cheese. I literally just got the pun today, so good on that. And a few other teams, but we're just trying to take it one match at a time and try to focus on our next opponent. So it'll be fun in playoffs when we get there.
All right. Well, thanks guys for letting me cast this. I was definitely looking forward to this all week. Definitely lived up to the hype. So best of luck this season, and thanks for sticking around. I'll start with Jaeger. Any shout outs?
I want to give a shout out to just Edward and Dota, who are two other players who weren't playing today, for their dedication to scrims and showing up and cheering us on. Loving my whole team, and we're ready for the next match.
And Crosby, shout outs?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to the team. Showtime was one of the best solo laners I've ever played with. He was holding his own up there against that mouthfeel. And then to Team Reborn, and then our manager Mez, who does all the scheduling and stuff for us, which saves us a ton of effort. So, and to Macroroni and Cheese, love playing you guys. It's always fun.
Yeah, great games.
And Zaleb, thanks for casting with me. Any shout outs?
Just shout outs to, people watching this. If they enjoyed this, I'm actually on a team, and we will be playing Thursday. If you guys want to come watch, people of slightly less caliber than these A teams. We're playing Thursday at 9:00 Eastern. So you should definitely come watch that. That'll be fun.
And what's your team's name again?
We are Wasted Potential.
All right. And I am DB Smiley. You can obviously follow me here, twitch.tv/DB Smiley. Additionally, I do writing for HGC at heroeshearth.com. Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/deathbysmiley, because DB Smiley is some old lady who tweeted once and apparently likes CSI. So that name was taken. With that, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching Nexus Gaming Series. NexusGamingSeries.com. You can get in on Discord. If you're looking to join, Season 4 won't be too far away. Obviously, Season 3 is underway, and you can't join just yet. But hopefully, we'll see you. And until then, take care. Thanks for watching the Nexus Gaming Series with me, DB Smiley. Take care.